Ooh. Just settle in, everybody. That can mean only one thing. We are back for another episode of Wise Words. I love the soundtrack. I love everything about it. Meeting new people, shedding a light and a little bit of a window into Wise Employment, the work we do, the industry partners we work with, the great people we support and the great people that support us. And I tell you what, we're just going to head out into the sort of the hilly region of Victoria. Maybe not really hilly, out at Dingley. Have you got many hills out of Dingley? You can see all the guys in there. There's no hills. There's no hills at Dingley. I've got to get better at geography. But we are joined by some pretty special humans today. You can see them all on the screen. It's the first time we've done a fully remote podcast because they're flat out at Brainwave. We're going to learn a little bit more about the business of Brainwave and bikes in a little bit with Kieran and Jessica. You can see them on screen. We got Tanya, one of our senior leaders within the Wise Employment business, out in that Pakenham area, which is, again, not very hilly. Maybe it is. And then we've got Nick. Nick's been a long-time customer of ours, and now he's just landed on his feet in a great role with the team at Brainwave. Nick, we'll say hi to everyone, so just give us a wave. Just do it all interactively. There we go. But Nick, we'll kick it off with you if we can, mate. If you don't mind just sharing a little bit of your backstory so we can get an understanding of who you are and what you're about, and then we'll talk about the beautiful journey you've had both with Wise Employment and Brainwave.
During COVID, I went for a ride with the mate and come off second best and was in the ICU and ended up with an acquired brain injury. I was looking for work, anything to just get back on my feet, like any voluntary work, whether it was cleaning up, putting out bins or sweeping floors. No one would look at me twice from no injury perspective. Then sort of stumbled across the bike shop, got in touch with Kieran and stuff, and haven't looked back. It's just been progression. It's been good.
Hey, thanks so much for sharing that, Nick. Nick, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. So Nick, certainly didn't mean to push in there, and keen to hear a little bit more about your story. So what's it like having a passion like that, but then having such a shocking accident that impacts on your life in a magnitude of ways? We've spoken to a number of people, both with acquired brain injuries or serious cancers or treatments which have put them in a wheelchair or things like that. Can you take us back into that moment where you had that incident and how you just kept motoring? Because I imagine it'd be something that's pretty challenging to come back from.
Well, it's definitely a bit of a kick in the teeth. It's not easy, even now, it's not easy. But I don't think how lucky I was. It definitely could have been a lot worse. I'm able to walk, I'm able to talk, so there wasn't really anything holding me back other than being given an opportunity, and it's what Kieran did. He gave me a little window and I just took it and ran with it.
Yeah, it sounds like you have, and we'll get to Kieran in a little bit. What about the rehab side of things, Nick? Can you talk to us? You said that, there are still challenges you face today, but what about the moments and the months after the accident? Just can you try and encapsulate for people who haven't been through it exactly what that's like in terms of the regime of rehab and everything you've got to do to learn a lot of things all over again?
It was pretty dark, to say the least. I was getting out about 6 o'clock in the morning and coming back to my partner's at about 6 o'clock at night, and all I did all day was try and get to these fancy specialist appointments.
Yep. And
they were all saying they don't really know what's wrong, but with public transport and being at one end of Melbourne to going to the other, it wasn't exactly time friendly, so I was just walking absolutely everywhere and anywhere just to get to appointments. A lot of people around me at the time all sort of disappeared and didn't understand what was going on with family and friends, so it was all pretty much myself just trying to figure out what was going on. I don't know, trying not to sort of think back about it, but I think I've forgotten a lot of it just from success, really.
Yeah. And it's something that we talk about with a lot of the people who've been impacted by tragedy or, like I said, accidents or forms of disease that have impacted on their ability to be employed. It's really about the network you've got around you. So it's good to hear about your partner and your family. Obviously, they're still sticking fat, and probably a good segue into the support that you've provided, Tanya. If you take yourself off mute and then maybe Nick pops himself on mute. Tanya, can you talk about when we first caught up a couple of weeks ago and you shared Nick's story with me, you had a big smile on your face. So can you maybe take me back to, talking a little bit about Nick and what meeting Nick has meant for you and how you've partnered with him along the way to Brainwave?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it started when Nick was volunteering. He'd been volunteering here for a little while. Brainwave obviously is a social enterprise, so we were able to kind of connect between the three of us, and Wise was able to offer a wage subsidy so we could get Nick some paid employment, and it's just kicked off from there. So at that stage, Nick was kind of working on bikes, and I think the really cool thing was that Brainwave, Kieran, has been really, really flexible and supportive of Nick. So making sure things like, it's not just work. Yeah, it's about Nick's well-being as well. So making sure he's going to the appointments he needs to go to, making sure that if he has to have a flexible start time, that happens, that he's having his lunch breaks and eating and that kind of thing. And then over, it's been 2 or 3 years now that you've been working here.
Yeah.
Over that time, he's kind of just, absolutely kicked goals and been part of the, we've worked with Brainwave on a pre-employment program, kind of collaborating on ideas and that kind of thing, and had a lot of our other participants come through. And, full 360, Nick's like coaching those guys and helping those guys and facilitating these courses. So even just, I was saying to Jess when I got here today, I could hear Nick talking to some of the guys and instructing them on what to do and how to do things, and just the confidence he has in what he does, and he just knows his stuff. It's been a really cool progression to see how far he's come, and now he's managing work, he's got his own family, his little boy, and he's still on top of all of the allied health stuff that he has to do, and he just manages it so well and rolls with the punches, and gets on with things that his day-to-day life is a lot harder and takes a lot more work than probably most of us, but you wouldn't tell by having a chat with him and just how he presents himself and how he gets on with things. So
give us a bit of a window into your boy's life. How old's your boy?
It'll be 5 months in a couple of days.
Well done. Oh, you're right in the beautiful moment.
Still
You're
fresh.
you're
Still fresh.
You just sleep's all you're worried about.
Doesn't do too much at the moment, but yeah.
Oh, mate, that's great. What's his name?
Levi.
Beauty, mate. Hey, Kieran and Jess, there's been a fair bit of talk about you guys and Brainwave. Kieran, we'll go to you first, and I know you're a small team today because you've got a few people out, so if you do have to pop off and serve some customers, no problems at all. Can you give us the elevator pitch, Kieran, for Brainwave and the work that you guys are doing as a social enterprise?
Yeah, of course. So Brainwave Bikes, as it says, social enterprise, was set up to prevent bikes heading to landfill. Staggering amount of bikes end up there at the moment, estimated 500,000 used bikes in Victoria, half of which go down that path. For a transitional employment model that you should be familiar with, and then thirdly, to raise funds for the incredible charity Brainwave Australia.
Yeah, right. So it's an arm of Brainwave, and what you basically focus on is repairing bikes and then finding them new homes instead of them going to landfill.
Exactly right. Yeah, taking a bicycle and giving it a second life. People think of these bikes as waste when that shouldn't be the case. The ones out in the transfer station, sometimes they've just got a chain that's fallen off. That's it. You give them a clean, put the chain back on, and you've got a fantastic bike that can go find a new home, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have all the details in the show notes, not just in terms of maybe how people can hook up with you to come and either buy a bike or some of the charities you work with in terms of donating a bike, but also how I can give you a bike if it's an old one and I need to drop it off or something. We'll have all the details there. We'll get back to you in a little bit. Hey, Jess, what's your role in there? I can see
So I manage the pre-employment program. So I came on board about 6 months ago, and I think, as Tanya said, Brainwave Bikes has been really committed to that pre-employment program space for the last couple of years. I was probably brought on to make it a little bit more structured instead of having those rolling engagements, it's more of a formal process, a formal program now. So currently we have 4 participants that came on board a couple of months ago, and Nick and I are sort of responsible for those guys 2 days a week. And I think it was an awesome start this year. And whilst I kind of thought that I'd have to maybe step in and be a part of it a little bit more, it's been amazing for me. I've been able to sit back and watch Nick and just watch his growth and professionalism and resilience, and it's been incredible to watch Nick not only kind of, we had Nick earmarked as somebody that was going to go in and teach them all the hands-on skills, and the bike skills and sort of servicing and maintenance and teaching them how to use the tools and all of that. But I think what's been so incredible for me to see is, and exactly like what Tanya said before, is actually watching him mentor and coach the young people and have those conversations around those other pre-employment skills that young people need, communication, customer service, all of those other things, resilience, and just leading by example as well. So I've kind of been able to sit back and more liaise with Nick at the end of the day and brainstorm ways to help our trainees grow, but not being as involved face-to-face as what Nick has been. So it's been incredible to watch the growth of Nick as a coach and a facilitator of a program, and be in the background and help him to do that as well.
Hey, Nick, do you think it was your passion? This has been toying with how to ask you this question in a way that works. You obviously had the accident on a bike and you've got a passion for bikes. Can you just talk to me about how that works? I would imagine that maybe seeing a bike would trigger something in you, but clearly it doesn't, because everyone's talking about the great work you're doing. Why go back to bikes? Is it like a bit of a, stuff you sort of thing, or?
I honestly wouldn't know how to answer it. I mean, it was hard. I mean, a bike sort of put me on in that position, but it took me 3 years to try and get back on a bike, and just even Flintstone along. Like, I taught myself basic bike mechanics and was building my own bikes, and I don't know if it was because I didn't remember a lot of the accident.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was itching to get back on a bike, and yeah, like I said, a bike shop was, coincidentally enough, the only place that would, give me a shot.
And when you talk about being given a shot, Jess, that's obviously where you come in. And I imagine you don't just work with Wise Employment. Is there sort of direct access that people can have if they want to make an application for the traineeships you talk about? Is it all volunteer initially, or have you got some partner programs where, people can get paid a little bit and volunteer their time elsewhere? Talk to us a little bit about those internships or apprenticeships or whatever you might be calling them.
Yeah, I wish we could offer some sort of paid program, but at this stage, it is an unpaid program. It goes for about 14 weeks. That's kind of the pilot so far. And then we're having an external work experience portion at the end. We've been lucky enough this iteration of the program that all of our participants have had significant work experience over the last a couple of years.
Yep.
So we haven't focused too heavily on external work experience portion. We are kind of keeping them here with us and making sure we're building their skills here where we can see and observe, and especially when they're working so well with Nick. And then we're working with them really closely on finding external mainstream job opportunities. So each of our participants, they don't all come from Wise. They come from a few other job providers as well, or schools.
As they should. We don't want to keep them all to ourselves. There are great people that are supported by everyone, not just Wise Employment.
Exactly.
There's a whole lot of cool crew out there. Yep.
And we've got a really good relationship with Holmesglen as well. So young people that have gone through maybe Cert 2 in general education, and they're sort of just looking for that small little booster skill development. And because we're only, say, 3 or 4 month kind of stint, and then we're working so closely. And I think the really big draw card for our program is that it is a real life experience that they're having. They're coming into, as we said before, Kieran and I and Nick, we're all going to have to jump up to serve real customers. A lot of pre-employment programs are very classroom based, and even at the start of this program, because it's the first one we've run with this structure, whenever we have kind of leaned into more of that classroom based activity, both Nick and I sort of look at each other, and Nick's like, oh, we're losing them. So we're finding with a cohort, like this, it is so incredibly important to have that real world hands-on experience. And yeah, that's where we're finding having the most success and also being able to observe the most growth.
Kieran, obviously you're passionate about, I had a look at your LinkedIn profile, you're passionate about social enterprise. Can you talk about your vision for Brainwave and what you're hoping to get in terms of both the bikes business and Brainwave more generally, what you're hoping to get for the social enterprise today and well into the future?
Of course, yeah. So in about, into our fourth year, we've collected 7,500 bikes so far.
Wow.
Which we estimate is only about 10% still of the bikes that head into landfill. So there's still massive room for growth. This was our first store in Dingley Village, proof of concept, and we're now at a place where we're breaking even, and we're looking to expand. So I'd love to be able to replicate what we're doing somewhere sort of in the inner city, because along with all the great work we do by preventing the bikes heading to landfill and giving them a new home, that's another shop, another place for more trainees to come through our incredible program. So the quicker and faster we can expand, the more lives we can potentially change.
Supply or demand, Kieran? Where's the challenge sitting for you at the moment? Is it people coming to buy bikes, or is it the bikes you've got for people to be able to work on and you to be able to sell or to donate to charities and stuff like that? Where's the challenge sitting for you at the moment, and how can we help?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it kind of just reminds me when I first moved into this warehouse, and my first bike collection was 10 bikes that I went to a local community for. And I was like, okay, this is insane. I've got 10 bikes in a massive warehouse. There's no way I'm going to fill it. And then very quickly, bikes coming out my ears now. The supply is incredible. We have 100 bikes a week coming in. It's not unheard of to have 80 bikes, 100 bikes in a day dropped off. And then the final sort of piece of the jigsaw was, are we able to sell the bikes? We have incredible quality bikes here. Getting that message out has been our focus over the past couple of years, and this year I think it's really clicked. People have realized they can get themselves a bargain that's tested by great mechanics like Nick. They come with a warranty. So where we're at the moment is a great flow. What comes in is getting fixed. It's finding new places. We donate bikes as well. And then I think, as I said, it's a great concept that we can now scale up.
Hey, Kieran, if people are looking for a bike, they've got a birthday coming up. I mean, yep. Christmas is around the corner, maybe. We're trying to be time agnostic on this. How can they connect with you and how can they get a bike? Do they have to head out to Dingley or can they jump online?
Of course, yeah, jump onto brainwavebikes.org.au. We display all our bikes that are serviced, ready to go. We do delivery around the city as well. But we would love you to come down, visit the store. Talk to one of us, hear our story, see the bikes in person. I think people get a shock when they come down to it and realize, we're a big superstore for secondhand bikes. This isn't a bicycle recycle shed style thing. It's a proper shop.
Beauty. It's a proper shop. Hey, Nick, you are a ripping example of what can happen when, with a bit of determination and focus, you look to turn your life around, surrounded by the right people. If someone's watching, Nick, and they're down on their luck or they've experienced a tragedy or an accident like you have, can you just give us a few parting words of advice in terms of how to get yourself up on the canvas? What would you say to someone watching and they're just like, I can't be bothered, but I probably should do something?
All it takes is one foot in front of the other. Like the minute you get out of a rut, or a bad bit of momentum, it's not hard to flip it around. You've just got to start.
Beauty. And Tanya, I know what you'd say.
You don't need all the keys.
Yeah, no. Hey, Nick, I really appreciate it. We will definitely follow up again. Tanya, same from you. People mightn't be aware that you can just drop into Wise Employment, Pakenham, or any of our offices if you are feeling a bit down. We offer a whole range of things from food security. We got the option to help you out, not just with employment, but just getting back up on your feet, counselling services and that sort of stuff, Tanya. So did you want to give us the elevator pitch for Wise Employment, similar to what Nick said? If people are feeling a bit down on the luck, what can they look forward to if they give Wise Employment a call or walk into one of our offices?
Yeah, definitely. It's not just an employment service. Finding and keeping employment involves, a lot of all elements of your life kind of being as secure as possible. So that's stuff that we can help with. And I guess touching on what Jess said, it's all about networking. So having services and other programs and other organisations that we can utilise and collaborate with. We have a lot of options to really support people to eventually get them to that employment and help them along that journey.
Jess, Kieran, Tanya, Nick, what a great bunch of humans you are. I wish you every success, and I can just feel maybe a video for the socials coming up, guys. I reckon we'll have a bit of a chat offline and see if we can't make something happen. Get those bikes flying off the shelves and get Nick managing even more people beyond Levi. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.